Hi, I'm Erin. I'm one of the occupational therapists with CDRC, and today we're going to talk about a feeding game you can play with your kids, usually during a snack, because we don't want to take away from meal times too much. So it's super simple to make. I just used a piece of paper and some marker and pen, and you can make a simple game board going around and having the dots serve as bases for the kids to land on. I usually just you can use any marker or any game piece from any game that you've got, and like Sorry or Candyland both have great pieces that you can use, things like that. And then I'm not sure if you can see here, but this is the key on the bottom that tells you how far you move for each space. So you can move 1 space if you touch a food, 2 spaces if you smell a food, 3 spaces if you kiss a food, 4 spaces if you lick, 5 if you take a bite. And then for many of the kids I work with, I add a 6, which is we can call it a bonus, or what we might do for some kids who tend to take very tiny bites. A tiny bite could be a 5, but then a more typical size bite could be a 6. Or sometimes if kids are trying to work on combining foods together, that could be the 6. So maybe they take individual foods and that gives you a 5 spaces, but if you take bites of foods together combined, you could move 6 points. So usually other rules that I use when I play this game are that whatever we give the child, we want to make sure that they understand that for the game, they have to do something with every food that's presented. So it doesn't mean they have to take a bite of everything, but that mean they at least need to touch or smell or kiss or lick each food that's presented in order to go through and to win the game. They have to do something with every food there. When I do something with a food, I like to make sure that I'm being really descriptive in a very objective way. So I like to use words like that it has a big smell or a small smell. Not necessarily something that it reminds you of, especially with smell, because that one can be really tricky. In terms of how it feels, I like to use, again, really objective words. So things like hard and soft, squishy, bumpy, lumpy, those types of things, as opposed to, oh, it tastes sweet. That can be more subjective. What that taste is to everyone is different. So I like to use those really descriptive words. You can also use the sound. So is it a loud food or a quiet food? So is it really crunchy or does it not make a sound when you chew it? Things like that. You can also, to explore a food before you even get to the step of taking a bite, you can show the child with your hands, oh, I can break it and it might be crunchy, similar to another food that you like, things like that. We try to keep our language very neutral or positive when we're dealing with foods, and even if it's a food that you may not love, to keep that emotion out of it and to keep it as objective as possible. Again, we want this to be an exploratory game. It's not about quantity of what is consumed. It's about the experience, that it's fun. The competition aspect can be very motivating for kids. And if you have any questions, please speak with the occupational therapist that you are working with. Thanks.